Hello, and welcome back to the Soft Psychology Club. I'm April, and I'm so glad you've joined me today. If you're new here, this is a space for ambitious women who honestly are over the hustle at all costs narrative. We're here to look at the actual science behind why you feel stuck and how to move forward without the huge internal battle. I have a bit of a confession to make. If I'm being really honest with you, I actually just recorded this entire episode. I got to the very end and then realised that I hadn't actually pressed record. But you know what? We'll say it was a test run. It's okay. I've definitely hit record now. In fact, I feel like I need to double check. Yes, it's recording. So let's go ahead. If I asked your friends to describe you, would they use words like the rock, the reliable one? Did you just picture the rock in like the skivvy with the gold chain and the jeans when I said the rock? Because that's what happened to me. I'm getting distracted now. But would they describe you as the one who has her life together, who always has everything together? For really ambitious women, these aren't always just compliments. Sometimes they can feel like a bit of a trap. They can feel suppressive or like a prison, so to speak, because everyone's always expecting you to have everything together. So if you think about your week so far, have you noticed that you can solve a crisis for your friend in 10 minutes flat, or you can fix a huge issue at work for your boss within the hour? But when it gets to 5:30, whatever time you finish work, and it's time to work on your own business plan or your own big idea, or it's time to finally get to that Pilates class that you've been really wanting to try, you suddenly feel too tired and you feel uninspired and you feel heavy and you end up scrolling instead. You might have been calling this procrastination or laziness, and you are probably beating yourself up for a lack of discipline. I bet you've bought all of the planners, you've downloaded all of the productivity apps to try and fix this laziness. But as a psychologist, I want to offer you a different perspective on this. I want to reframe the narrative a little for you. I think what you're really experiencing is a sign of chronic overfunctioning. I'm going to say that again. Chronic overfunctioning. You're not lazy. You're emotionally and energetically bankrupt from funding everybody else's success with your limited energetic capacity. You're the high interest loan that everyone in your life is drawing from, and you're the one facing the debt. I really hope that analogy is landing for you. So let's look at the why. Why does this happen? I see this quite often where ambitious women during childhood were highly rewarded for being low maintenance and high achieving. So if you have parents that were, maybe they were just really, really busy and, occupied with other stresses, or they were really emotionally overwhelmed, or perhaps you had a big family, perhaps you were the eldest daughter. I think that stereotype of the eldest daughter is really what we're speaking into today. So if you really, see yourself, recognize yourself in that, you probably learned early on that you need to be useful to be loved. So if you're the one who gets straight A's and you cope with all your siblings and you don't cause any trouble, you receive all of the validation, right? You become the easy child. Everyone loves the easy child. But as an adult, your nervous system now associates doing for others with safety. It's sort of like that mother wound where you have this internalized belief that you're only worthy of love and care if you're providing care and service for other people. So when you try to focus on your own goals, which are inherently selfish in air quotations, in the best way, your brain triggers a bit of an alarm. So it feels safer to fix your friend's resume or answer a client's non-emergency email at 9 p.m. Oh my God, I've done that so many times. Than it does to sit in the quiet, vulnerable space of your own ambition. Because if you're busy, you're safe. If you're needed, you won't be abandoned. Is that how you say it? Abandoned. Yeah. So here's the hard truth. Overfunctioning is usually just a sophisticated form of avoidance. So in clinical terms, we call this a defense mechanism or a maladaptive coping mechanism. If I'm busy fixing your life, I don't have to face the terrifying possibility that I might fail at mine. If I'm the saviour at work, I don't have to deal with the self-doubt that creeps in when I'm trying to scale my own business. We use the needs of others as a shield to protect us from our own potential. I really want you to ask yourself now, am I being helpful or am I hiding? Am I clearing someone else's path so that I have an excuse not to walk down my own? When we overfunction, we aren't just being nice. We're often subtly controlling our environment so that no one can ever be disappointed in us. But the person you end up disappointing is yourself. You're ripping yourself off from the life you could be living. I see this so often in clinic, and I see it with women of all ages, from quite young actually all the way through, where they feel the need to fix things and take on responsibilities for everybody else. They volunteer to do this, they'll take care of this task, they'll fix this problem, and they fill up their available time with all of these tasks that serve other people, and then they don't have time to do anything that they need to do for them. So it might be they don't leave themselves enough time to complete their study coursework if they're at school or if they're at uni, or they don't leave themselves any time to work on the new business idea that they want to start putting into action, or whatever it might be they want to work on. They sell themselves short and they don't have any time, and then it's quite common that they start to feel kind of unfulfilled, I guess, and a bit resentful because they're doing everything for everybody else. They often don't see it back in return, and they're not pouring into their own cup. I know that that's a really cliche phrase to use, but I think it's quite helpful because most people understand what I mean when I'm saying that. I want to give you a tangible exercise to try now, okay? So if you're not driving, I want you to close your eyes. If you are driving, maybe pause this or listen through it and then come back to it later on when you're not driving, even when you pull up. So if you're not driving, I want you to gently close your eyes and imagine you're standing at the base of a mountain. This mountain is your big goal for the next 6 months. Now, feel the weight that's on your back right now. You're carrying a huge, massive backpack. I want you to carefully slide that backpack off your shoulders. Now take the zip and unzip it wide open and have a look inside. What's inside that backpack? Is it your sister's financial issues? Is it your colleagues' inability to manage their own calendar and workload? Is it your partner's emotional regulation issues or their bad mood? Is it somebody else's problem that's weighing this backpack down? Preferably with pen and paper, otherwise in your phone notes. I want you to list 3 things you're carrying right now that do not belong to you. Write them down, and if you're comfortable, I'd love you to say it out loud. Otherwise, you can just say it in your head. Say, I am returning this to its rightful owner. They're capable of carrying this. I do not have to carry it for them. Return the problem. If it's not yours to carry, you don't need to be lugging it around up that mountain. It'll stop you from getting to the top of that mountain, okay? Now, you might want to rip up the piece of paper once you're finished with this. You might want to burn it, put it in the bin, or you might want to keep hold of it to remind you that it's actually not your problem to be carrying around. Some people find that quite useful too. So, how do we recover from this chronic overfunctioning? That was just one brief exercise that you can do in the moment. What else can we do? We can practice strategic under-functioning. I'm going to repeat that phrase. Strategic under-functioning. How does it feel when I say those words? How does it feel to hear those words? I bet it feels a bit uncomfortable, maybe a little bit scary. You might have felt a little twinge of tension or anxiety somewhere in your body, because this is going to feel a little bit mean at first almost. Your nervous system is probably going to scream at you because it's so far away from how you have been functioning for the past many years, probably. You'll experience what we call a vulnerability hangover. It's that spike in anxiety when you don't just jump in to save the day straight away. You can set yourself 3 rules for the week to help you practice this strategic underfunctioning, okay? The first one's the 24-hour rule. So when somebody asks you for help with something that they could actually do themselves, you wait 24 hours to respond. You don't have to ghost them forever, but just wait 24 hours before you get back to them. This gives them the space to try and figure it out for themselves. And I think you'll be really quite amazed at how many problems or how many moments of crisis actually resolve themselves when you're not immediately available to fix them. The second one is the messy boundary. Let things fall apart a little bit. Let the laundry stay unfolded. Let the meeting have a slightly disorganized agenda. If you keep catching the vase before it hits the floor, no one is ever going to realize that it's slipping. Okay? The third is the self-first hour. That's probably not the best name for it, actually. I could probably be a bit more creative with that. But I think you get the idea, okay? So ideally this would be the first hour of the day, but I do understand, particularly if you have young children, this might not be feasible for you. Somewhere in the day, if you can't do it first thing, schedule it into your day somewhere where you have an hour where you're not allowed to solve any external problems. You're not allowed to solve problems for anybody else. No emails, no texts, no fixing, because you're spending this hour focusing on something for you. So this might be focusing on your own business goal. It might be going to the gym if a health focus is a big thing for you, or going to a Pilates class. Whatever it is, you're focusing on that for an hour. Let's remember from episode 1, I think it was, you need 23 minutes and 15 seconds of uninterrupted time to actually enter into that flow state where things start working more easily for you. So give yourself that hour to focus on your own success, okay? Now, before we finish, I really want to remind you that your ambition is a gift. It's not a burden, but it does require fuel. And every time you overfunction for somebody else, you're emptying your own tank, right? And you're kind of not allowing them to figure it out for themselves either. You know how, like with children, if they ask you to do something they can do for themselves, instinctively you want to do it for them, but you're better off to allow them to attempt it themselves so that they can learn. It's kind of the same thing. Like, you need to let them figure it out for their own sake as well as for yours, okay? You're not put on this earth to be a support character in everyone else's movie. You're the main character in your life. We need more main character energy over here, okay? Where we're not supporting everybody else. It's time to stop being so helpful that you become invisible to yourself, okay? Now, I would love to see what you're taking out of your backpack. you can screenshot this episode, post it to your stories, and tag me with one thing that you're handing back to its rightful owner and one thing that you're prioritizing for yourself instead. If you don't feel comfortable sharing that publicly, still share this episode to your stories and maybe just DM me instead. Let me know. I'm really interested to hear. I would love to know what you're setting aside, what you're giving back, and what you're prioritizing for yourself instead. If you feel like you need a little extra help with this, please DM me. Just say, April, help me, and we can organize a cognitive consult for you, which is a non-clinical service that I offer where we spend about an hour one-to-one on like a video call, and we really unpack what's holding you back. We look at why you're holding yourself back and how we can navigate past that so that you can actually do the things you want to do. You can reach your potential, you can succeed on that health journey, on that fitness journey, you can launch that business, you can move forward in the way that you know that you can, but you're holding yourself back from. I really hope that you found some value in this episode if you've listened all the way through. I really thank you for spending this time for me. I'm so glad that you're here, and I look forward to seeing you at Soft Psychology Club next episode.